everybody, this is Jennifer. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going through my reads from the last 2 weeks, which is the last time I spoke to you. So yeah, there's quite a lot to talk about. So let's just go ahead and get started with that. So what I have finished recently are some graphic novels and comic books and a non-fiction audiobook. So the first one I finished was Moonshine Volume 2, Misery Train by Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Riso. And this follows Torpedo Lou Perillo, who at the end of the first, well, okay, I'm not going to tell you about the end of the first one, but he ends up on a train down to New Orleans and he gets picked up for vagrancy and put into a working camp. And it's about his experiences there and what ends up happening. And it also goes over what's still happening back in the place where he left with the family and then the gangsters who want their moonshine. So that's that. It was okay. I didn't have a whole lot of luck with the graphic novels this month. This was a 3-star read. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't as interesting as the first one, but I'm hoping Volume 3 will make up for it. Who knows? Gotta read it first. Then the next thing I read were the first 2 editions in the Rivers of London, the Fae and the Furious series. Yeah, basically there's an underground car racing racket that's apparently run by fairies, and this is what happens. But it follows the most recent full-length novel, and then I believe it's leading up to the next full-length, which is coming out next year, called False Value in the Rivers of London series. So I always try to keep up with it, even if I don't really know that the comic books really stack up to the level of the novels, but it's a fun way to keep up with this story, and I love that world. So okay, so the first thing I'm gonna get to, well, the last okay, so the last graphic novel I read is the first thing I finished this month by Neil Gaiman, and keep that name in mind because you'll be hearing more of it later. And it's the Sandman Volume 4, Season of Mists. And basically this is the one where Lucifer clears out hell and gives Sandman the key. And that sets off a whole lot of things going on, including the Lucifer comic book series spinoff, and which spun off into the show that's now on Netflix, which I love. But yeah, so I read this and I like this pretty good. I gave it 3 stars. However, one of my major disappointments when it comes to reading is that I don't like the Sandman graphic novel series nearly as much as I think I should. I feel like if I had gotten this more in my early 20s and in my high school years, I would have really, really loved it. But I don't know. At this point, the thing about it is I started reading Neil Gaiman with his fiction, specifically American Gods. And so this early stuff and then the Sandman character, it doesn't really, I don't know. By the time I was out of my mid-20s, I'd moved out of my gothic phase. So going back feels a little bit jarring, and I don't quite get it as much as I think I would have in the past, but I don't know. I'm tempted to keep going because I really want to be a Neil Gaiman completist, but I don't know. The problem with graphic novels is they're muy expensive, so I'll have to think about it. So those were the graphic novels and comic books I finished reading. The next thing I finished was Through Two Doors at Once by Anil Anathaswamy. And this was taking a look at quantum physics through the lens of the double slit experiment. And you know, basically just talking about how that helped the quantum theories evolve and how they're using that and expanding and altering the test in order to test different theories and stuff. And I really really liked this. It was a 4 stars. And let's see. I have notes. Let's see. Oh, so the only thing that kept me from like loving it is it's about an experiment, and the stuff I've never like, when I was out of high school, I quit doing science stuff, so I haven't done any kind of stuff involving experiments in a very long while. So I found the details about the experiments kind of hard to follow, because I have no idea what an interferometer is. I mean, I can guess and I could look it up, but it's not something that's likely to stick with me. However, the more conceptual aspects of quantum mechanics I absolutely love, and very soon in the first quarter of next year I'm going to be reading let's see, Something Deeply Hidden by Sean Carroll, which is his book about quantum worlds and space-time and the many worlds. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I really liked that, and I'm definitely going to be looking at more stuff by him in the future. So yes, I enjoyed it. Let's see. The next book I finished was Ending Up by Kingsley Amis. Last time we spoke, I was really enjoying this, and I continued to enjoy it right up to the end where the author ruined it. You know, this is subjective, of course, but like the sense of humor, the characters were interesting, if horrible, but it seemed like to me that the author only figured out how he wanted to end it in the last 5 minutes, and he just wrote the ending without any real lead up to it. And I don't know. I didn't think it was very well done, and I think it was rushed. And I also feel like the dark comedy elements of the book got ramped up to an absurd level that kind of just ruined it for me. And it was just too grim by like half. And so in the end, I ended up giving it 3 stars. I originally gave it 4, but the more I thought about that ending, the more I was like, I hated it. So it got knocked down to a 3 star, but I'm still glad I read it. It was a very interesting premise, and for like 95% of the way through, I was really enjoying it, but no, I can't. All right, so let's move on to what I'm currently reading. I am still working on Pilgrim at Tinker Creek by Annie Dillard. It's been a while since I'm very close to the end, so I need to keep going. I'm gonna try to read some of that tonight. But I'm hoping to finish this before the end of the year, because I'm one away from my Goodreads goal, and I want to finish with this. But I'm not gonna rush it if I don't want to rush it. So if it takes me past January, into January, that's fine. I'll just pick up one of my graphic novels that I still have and can read in like 3 hours. So I would like this to be my last book of the year, but if not, no big deal. Let's see. I am still reading The Dragon Republic. I just crossed the halfway point with that. That's by R.F. Kuang, and it's a follow-up to The Poppy War, which I read earlier this year. So yeah, they're in the middle of a straight-up war right now, and it's pretty grim. The reading experience is going fine. However, Rin as the main protagonist is starting to wear on me, because I'm kind of annoyed with her, because as the character in the beginning, she was so determined that she went out of her way to get this position at the school, and she was so determined to succeed. And I don't know if this counts as, I'm not giving details, but mild spoiler warning. And right now she's in a position where she's like at the bottom and she's just content to like just stay where she's at and take orders. And I'm like, that is so not the character that she was set out to be. Anyway, so mild spoiler done. So yeah, I'm 53% about that. And I could finish this by the end of the year, but whatever. Let's see here. Okay, so new things I have started, and they're both by Neil Gaiman. It was an accident, but that's the way it ended. That's the way it ended up. One night I was like done. I was at a good stopping point with Dragon Republic, but I still wanted to read something. So I had this on my Kindle, so I pulled it up. And it's Don't Panic, Douglas Adams and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Neil Gaiman. And this is basically what it is. Yeah, so basically it's the history of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, starting with how it was a radio show and on through like the TV series. And right now I'm in the middle of the, well, it goes chronologically, so we're like around the second book and then the second like radio series. So there's that. And I think we're just starting it on the TV show section. Yeah, I'm about 31% done with that. And I'm really enjoying it. I love The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I hope to be rereading it at some point in 2020. So I thought this was a good place to start. And it's just a good, easy read about something I enjoy, so good going with that. And then I decided on Christmas Eve that I'd like to hear Neil Gaiman talk. So I went and I opened up my Overdrive app and I looked him up and I found this book, Trigger Warning, Short Stories and Disturbances, which is a short story collection by Neil Gaiman, and it was the audiobook with him narrating was available. So I picked that up and I've been reading that. I'm almost to the 40% mark on that. I am loving this experience so much. And see, that's another reason why the fact that I don't like the Sandman is so weird is I love Neil Gaiman's writing. There's just a thing about it that really just works for me. And some of these stories are so good. The thing about Cassandra might be my favorite thing I've read all year. And the ending just like blew me away. And then I just finished this one story called A Calendar of Tales or something like that. And it's one short story, but it's a short tale for like every single month of the year. And it ended in December in such a way that it was just the best. So yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying this listening / e-reader experience because I do have this on my TBR, so it's not something I just picked up and when I should be reading other things. This was on my TBR, so I was going to get around to it at some point, and I'm really loving it. Okay, so that is all that I am reading right now. And now I want to talk about what I'm going to be reading in January. I'm going to be continuing, of course, with anything I haven't read from what I've talked about today. But in January, I'm going to be taking part in the Magic Mountain Readathon. It's being hosted by Andrea from Infinite Text and Claudia from Spinster's Library. This is my copy right now. However, I have a different translation ordered by, I think it's John Woods. I might have gotten his first name wrong. I don't think I have his last name wrong. This one was translated by H.T. Lowe Porter. And my history with the Magic Mountain is a bit fraught because I started this back in November of 2017, right? And my hope was to be able to finish it sometime in the first quarter of 2018. Well, the beginning of 2019 rolls around, and I am still only a part of I'm only through to page 134. Like, it took me several months to get that far. So I'm taking part in a 1-month read-along, and you're supposed to do like 4 chapters a week, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? So yeah, I ordered a new edition by a different translator, and I'm hoping that will fix things. I'm still gonna go along with the read along and see what I can do with that. So in order to make sure I finish this, I'm not putting any other books on my TBR for this month. I might have an audiobook going because I like to listen to them at the gym, and the next Audible credit I get is going towards Something Deeply Hidden by Sean Carroll. So that might also be going on in January, but when it comes to reading, this is going to be my only companion this month. It's also a good start to the challenge to read German literature in 2020 that's being hosted by Britta and Mel from the channel Britta Bowler and then Mel's Bookland Adventures respectively. So yeah, wish me luck on this because I'm gonna need it. Or I might not. I might find the other translation much better, or it might just be the book. Because if neither of these translations work, what you gonna do? And I found it kind of like weird because I absolutely love Death and Menace by Thomas Mann. I know they're different books, but I don't know. That's why I think it might be a problem with the translation. If you guys have anything to say about the translation, or if you have any recommendations to make, please, let me know and put in a comment. I really want to read this, and if I can find a good way to get through it, then I want to, because I've tried to find an audio version, and there ain't none. So, yeah. That is my reading situation as of right now. Please feel free to, comment on any of the things I've brought up here. Let me know what you're reading. Does anybody have any big 2020 reading plans? I am trying not to. I am trying to just read the books I own and to enjoy what I like and not try to be, not to be too clever about things, Yeah. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.